because he's the best player I've ever seen in my life. Maybe it's because I have to be a fan.
Wow. We discovered what the middle of the field was.
Comeback player of the year? Russell Wilson? Maybe?
CM Punk returned to Survivor Series.
Woo!
What do you think one of the dumbest trends of our generation has been? Like, since we've been...
iPods, for sure. The one where they destroyed the bathrooms. That was pretty
Oh, the devious lick?
Yeah, that was pretty
That was so bad.
That was a good one.
No, hold on. The devious lick thing, it
They
started...
didn't even lick anything.
No, hold on. The devious lick trend started out funny, like harmless things like stealing someone's pencil case, a backpack, and then it turned into vandalism, taking urinals out of the school bathroom. That was bad.
Vandalism's fine. The pencil's too far.
That was crazy.
I remember being like, oh, they took the devious lick sound.
Oh my gosh. Al, you know what? Keep all this in. Start the podcast when we start talking about what's the worst trend that we had, and let's start the podcast right now. I'm dead serious.
Okay, go.
Start. We already started 2 minutes ago. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Welcome back.
Should we clap?
You want to clap? You guys can see behind the scenes.
Oh,
we already started.
Oh, okay.
I want to keep that in because it was funny. Welcome back to another episode of the Unlevel Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sam.
I'm Chris.
And we have all the Thanksgiving games done. All the Week 12 games done. We're far into the season. We are past the midway point. We are getting closer to the playoffs. Chris, first of all, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, Sam. How was yours?
It was very good.
Ate a lot of food?
I couldn't find the list of the stuff that I ate years ago.
That's far back in the archives.
I really wanted to find that list, but I actually didn't do too bad. I checked my weight at the beginning of Thanksgiving, and the next day I only gained half a pound.
I didn't eat a whole lot of main food. For me, I went ham with the desserts. I just couldn't stop, and I haven't stopped. I've been cookies.
No, the desserts is the worst.
Every night at 11, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed, and then I come downstairs and I eat 7 cookies, and it's just bad. It's been like that way for the last 3 nights.
Honestly, yeah, I haven't weighed myself since I weighed myself after Thanksgiving. I'm sure it's a few more pounds at least, but it was still fun. But Chris, we got a lot of games to talk about, a lot of stuff. So let's roll the intro.
You're listening to In the Huddle with Sam Gold and Chris Rotundo.
All right, so we have a little bit of news before the games. We have another coach firing Chris, Frank Reich.
Yep.
Panthers. He's out. It only took him, 11 games. And I want to say it's a good move, but at the same time, I had this Adam Schefter post pulled up that really put everything into perspective. Just going back to the Bears trade that they made to get the first pick, to get Bryce Young. I mean, here's what the Bears received. DJ Moore, 2023 first-round pick. They got their left tackle, Darnell Wright. Second-round pick, they got a cornerback, Tyreek Stevenson. Well, he's not bad. They also currently have the 2024 first-round pick and a 2025 second-round pick. And all the Panthers got out of that was a dollar store Kyler Murray so far.
It's been rough.
They think that firing Frank Reich, who I don't love, but I don't think is the main issue of the Panthers right now, they think that that's the best decision. Go ahead, Panthers, but let's be honest, you really ruined your chances when you traded up to get Bryce Young. I know you tried to make a big move. You thought that he was going to be the guy. He still has plenty of time to get much better. Of course, you're going to have to build that roster, but honestly, Chris, I just think it's funny that they said, boom, we just fired Frank Reich, mic drop. No, you guys are still going to suck because you traded away your whole future for a guy that you took a big risk on who has been a bottom 5 starting quarterback so far.
I agree with everything you said. There's still plenty of time to turn it around. And this is a guy who I said, we did a few weeks back when I said what coaches should be fired. I think it was around a little before the midway point, 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And Frank Reich was one of the guys who I had on there. And you felt that was a little premature.
Yeah.
And maybe this move was a little premature. Not even a full season. You have a rookie quarterback. A lot of development still needs to be done. The rebuild process is just starting. And a new head coach. So the Panthers really felt that they would rather make a move too soon than too late. Which in that regards, yes, I could see. But at the same time, kind of contradicting what I said a few weeks back, not even giving him a full season is kind of wild to me, especially with such a young quarterback. And he's gone before Staley's gone,
yep.
which is
It's only
Which is
going to
wild.
prolong his Bryce Young's issues because now he's going to have to get adjusted to a new coach. All he knows right now is Frank Reich. So now he's going to have to get adjusted to a new coach. They were back and forth on who's calling the plays this year. Like, you saw in that game, Bryce Young he's just not ready yet in general. Like, sure, Frank Reich is not the best. Like, he should be fired at some point, but not at this point of the season.
Maybe an off-season move.
They're already proving that they're just kind of a dysfunctional franchise because, look, the Chiefs, man, like, we took a big risk getting rid of Tyreek Hill. But that resulted in Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Isaiah Pacheco, a ton of draft capital, being able to pair offensive line. They kind of just did the opposite here for a guy that they don't even know is going to be good yet, Bryce Young.
Like you alluded to what the Chiefs did, when you're in a position when you have a Super Bowl caliber team already built, you can take the risk in making those moves when you have the best quarterback, the best tight end in the league, a bunch of top playmakers. While the Panthers, they were in no position to make this type of risk move. The Chiefs have already won a Super Bowl. They already have top talent all around. So taking these moves, you could take the risk. The Panthers, they have no first-round pick this year, which they really needed that pick. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on with the whole rebuild process. It's kind of just confusing to me because I feel that there's no direction. They said they wanted to make a trade for a top wide receiver. And what do you really have to give other teams? Are you going to make a trade for more draft picks? You're going to draft a receiver in the second round, go after one in free agency, maybe like Mike Williams maybe, and overpay a guy who's injury prone? I don't know. I don't see where the direction with Carolina is coming right now. It's kind of scary.
It just doesn't make sense. It's obvious. It's obviously easier to say it in hindsight now that they made the wrong decision getting Bryce Young. But at the same time, look, you're going to like your guy regardless. If you really like a guy, you're going to go out and try to draft him. But it's not like Bryce Young was miles ahead of CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson in the draft process. So even just trading up to the second spot or the third spot or a top 5 spot, you would give up less draft capital than what you did here. So I don't know. You got to hope that you draft well with the picks you have left, and maybe you have enough money to go out and get some more pieces. But so far, it's really screwed up.
I just want to say I'm not out on Bryce Young whatsoever. I still have faith that he can be a very competent quarterback in this league. And out of all the teams with the Texans and Colts, like you alluded to with Richardson and Stroud, he went to by far the worst scenario out of those 3 teams. With the Colts, they are competitive even with Minshew. The Texans, they drafted a lot of good young rookies, and they already have some veteran. They got Brian Schultz. They had Nico Collins, so they already had guys there that can help out Stroud a lot. So Bryce Young, he went to a situation where,
but I mean,
who's the guy that they have there?
Well, okay.
Old Adam Thielen?
Yeah, but you look at the beginning of the season. You're comparing Dalton Schultz and Nico Collins to Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Miles Sanders, and Hayden Hurst. I mean, are they that different? At the beginning of the season. Obviously, we know now that Nico Collins is having his best season. Dalton Schultz is better, and Tank Dell, another rookie, has grown. But like,
in the beginning of the season,
they were all bad.
They were all question marks. And now, yes, it is easier to say that the Texans are a better situation. And I think it goes down the coaching and just the whole player development and just the whole draft process. Yeah. When after the draft, you can sit here and give out your rankings and you really can't make a decision until this point in the season. But it's still early. You still have time. That 3-year window for quarterbacks that a lot of people like to give out. So we'll see what moves they make this offseason. Who do they bring in as the head coach? What players do they bring around Bryce Young, which they need to do, offensive guys around him? It's going to be interesting to see exactly what the Panthers do this season.
Yeah, just another stamp of the season for this horrendous season for the Panthers, just kind of showing how dysfunctional they've been. All right, Chris. With Thanksgiving and the Black Friday games, I would say the Dolphins game went by how we expected. The 49ers game went by how we expected. The Cowboys played how we expected. So the only thing we really got to talk about here is the upset of the Packers beating the Lions.
They are not down. I said the Packers last week had a chance to still make a playoff push, a long shot, because hadn't been playing great, and they go out there on Thanksgiving. And
is my Jordan Love take finally coming back around?
It's still alive.
I don't take it back. I don't take back what I said about Jordan Love. We have to wait now.
Now you're taking back what you took back.
Yes.
Okay.
Since I originally said Jordan Love was going to be good, I can keep it until the end of the season.
I'm telling you, the Thanksgiving week, the football season, just obviously playoffs right around the corner. The intensity turns up. We look at the playoff picture. This is my favorite. It's the home stretch, the best time of the season. And now we're looking at the final schedule. There's a path that the Packers can make it. There's a path that the Vikings can make it.
I mean, we just talked about last week how the Seahawks look like they're on the downhill and that they're going to miss the playoffs. That opens up a wide open spot for the Packers.
I was playing around with certain situations, and I was looking at the final week of the season, Seahawks, Packers, and Vikings, one of those three teams really battling for the 7th seed in the NFC. Yeah. Anything can happen. So it's a huge upset. I did not expect that to happen whatsoever. Jordan Love played a really good game in a must-win game for where they sit right now. While the Lions, not that they wanted to lose that game, but it's definitely not the end of the world.
Yeah, look, it's a tough divisional matchup. Thanksgiving. It's nothing like Thanksgiving more than the Lions losing at 1 o'clock.
12:30.
12:30, sorry. But, Jared Goff, second week in a row, he just looked great. Turnovers. And we know that their defense at this point has been an issue. So basically what it's showing on Thanksgiving is that the Lions, we know their identity by now. If Jared Goff is not playing his best, then the offense starts to struggle a little bit. Yep. And their defense has been bad all season. So basically what it's coming out to right now with the Lions is maybe they'll win one playoff game, and then they'll face a 49ers.
Definitely not Eagles. A Super Bowl team. Definitely not.
So
too much work to be done.
You can't give up 29 to the struggling Packers, who you just made Jordan Love look great for one of the only weeks of the season he's looked good. So it's just a lot to think about for Lions
Christian
fans.
Watson, a guy who I would really high on in the season, really pretty quiet. Jaden Reed and Dobbs have been taken away.
This last season, Chris.
Yeah.
Christian Watson.
He stepped up. Win Musgrave on the IR for something with his lungs or a kidney against the Chargers, some crazy injury. So he's in the IR out for at least 4 games. So these guys are gonna have to step up with one of your top performers at a rookie tight end really banged up right now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much all the Thanksgiving Black Friday stuff. We move on to 1 o'clock where really it was kind of like the witching hour was good, but it was these low scoring.
Yeah, no touchdowns for the first 9 minutes.
Oh, like 30 minutes. Yeah. It took a while. It took to the end of the first quarter for Derrick Henry to score. Who would have thought Titans-Panthers would be the first game to score? I said it shouldn't have been televised last week. Well, you know what? We would have missed the first touchdown if it wasn't televised, so good thing we saw that, but definitely not talking about that game. Really, the only thing is it was Texans-Jags. That was the most hyped up 1 o'clock game. It definitely did not disappoint. 24-21. The Jaguars come out on top. The Texans beat the Jags in Jacksonville. Jaguars beat the Texans in Houston. I was really, really rooting for the Texans, and just kind of one of those heartbreakers. And there's not much to take away about these two teams. I feel like they both played in similar ways they've been playing all season. I think it just comes down to the seeding. I don't. That was it for the Texans. They can absolutely get a wild card spot, but that was their shot to win the division.
Tough game.
It just didn't happen. I
know.
CJ Stroud played well.
I picked the Jaguars to win that game. They're my Super Bowl pick. I'm still sticking with them, and I really just wanted a good game. I didn't care who won that game. I wanted a good game, and it was delivered. Stroud finding his two guys, Tank Dell and
I love Tank Dell
and Nico Collins. Listen,
I love Tank Dell so much.
Ever since he made that comment about him, he listened to our podcast, and what did he do? He took it personally. So thank you for that, Tank.
I don't want to jinx anything, but let's talk about fantasy for 30 seconds, guys. Since I had the Bijan rant, I am 3-2 since then. I'm 7-5. I just put up back-to-back 160-point weeks. I got Tank Dell on the team. Kyron Williams just came back, 40 points. Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Laporta.
You pooped on your own player in Tank Dell.
Okay, I didn't actually make fun of it. I was like, okay, Tank Dell, CJ Stroud is not going to be like the next Mahomes Kelsey. But honestly,
you're right. You're right. It's going to be the greatest combination.
It's going to be Montana, Jerry Rice. It's even better than that because Tank Dell is the second coming of Jesus at this point. Actually, because he's the best player I've ever seen in my life. Maybe it's because I have him in fantasy. Did you see the catch he made where he basically, you know how you in movies a guy would run up to a car and slide.
Yeah.
Go off. He kind of was in that position and he caught it. I don't know. He did that slide over a defender and caught it.
Magic.
That mixed with the touchdown catch he had last week. 5'9". I'm the same height as Tank Dell. He's making those plays.
I think you're better than him. We'll put you out there.
You should have seen me in the Turkey Bowl this weekend. Just 5 catches, 34 yards, no touchdowns.
Underperformed the projection by 5 points.
I'm the K-Dotton of fantasy football. That's what he does. I'll get you 8 points in fantasy.
I was so rooting for a K-Dot touchdown last week. I don't know why. I just wanted it.
What?
Because whenever Cade scores, it's always a good day.
Is that what they say?
That's what I say.
Yeah, that's what they say. All right. That is the last time Kate Otten will ever be mentioned on this podcast. Probably.
You're right.
Sorry, the Ottens.
Unless he scores against the Panthers next week, I'll mention him.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? Now that we made this whole thing for 30 seconds, now we're definitely mentioning Kate Otten every week. So you're welcome. Okay. Yeah, that was really it for the 1 o'clock games. Other than, I guess we'll get into our two teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers did play at 1 o'clock. Chris, first game without Matt Canada.
It was
First
a good
game
one.
over 400 total yards. Kenny Pickett looked good.
What else is there that needs to be said? Ever since Canada came in, never had an offensive game over 400 yards. 400 yards isn't a crazy number for an offense to hit, but not hitting that in basically 3 seasons with that guy, and in the first game without him, 400 yards. Yeah, you want to put the blame on Kenny Pickett. Granted, he hasn't been playing his best ball either, but the first game without him, we discover what the middle of the field was. This offense looks like they're playing free, like they're actually having fun and they're enjoying it. The locker room afterwards, you could tell it was just a different vibe around there. Now, we put up 16 points still, but I'm not going to get on that just because we put up 400 yards. It's great the fact that we actually discovered let's throw the ball over the middle of the field and get Freiermuth back involved. Najee Harris looked like Najee from his rookie year, making a lot of those runs. When the play looked over, he would just break through 4 defenders and just keep on going. They are using him how he needs to be used.
Harris.
And
it's the opposite of take, though. I hate Najee Harris.
It's a fresh of breath air, the fact that this team...
Fresh of breath air?
It's a breath... Hold on. It's a breath of fresh air?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. No, it's a fresh...
I'm just so excited I can't even speak right now. It just feels good, the fact that we all knew what the issue was going into this, and now all the issues... most of the issues are gone. But now, when the blame is off of one person in Canada, all the blame on the offense is now going to go to Kenny Pickett. And this is time for him. He needs to get consistent over these last few games, trying to make this playoff push into next year so we can see, is he the guy that we're going to extend, or are we going to go out there and sign someone in free agency, make a trade for, I don't think they're going to trade for someone, or go out there and try and make a move for a draft pick to trade up for a quarterback. We'll see. It's a new era in Pittsburgh without Ben, and it's been a very difficult one, especially the offensive side of the ball, when you look back to just, 6-7 years ago, and how explosive they've been, to how detrimental it's been. So it feels good to finally have a 400-yard game of offense. I'm happy, and I'm so happy that Matt Canada's gone. This offense can now play how they're supposed to play. I
was this close to texting you at the end of the first half. I'm like, see, Chris, Kenny Pickett still sucks, but then he finally picked it up in the second half. So I almost texted you, but I held off. I was like, let's see if the Steelers win this game.
On the first drive, the 25-yard strike to Freiermuth, I'm like, wow. We discovered what the middle of the field was. I'm like, what?
To be fair, the Bengals are also like the worst team against tight end.
But yes, we threw it to the middle of the field.
At least capitalized on it. Means they're making some bit of improvement.
I was so relieved when I saw that. I was like, woo, this is good. Rather than a 1st and 100 little 2-yard dump off for 3 yards, like that's going to do anything. What? What are you trying to do? See? I hope
it really does piss me off, though. Najee Harris looks like Derrick Henry now.
It's one game.
Why? Why when I wasted a 4th-round fantasy pick on him the second I traded him away, he looks like Derrick Henry. He looks fast again. What? The second he's off my team, his foot injury just goes away? It makes no sense. It's fine. I'm 7-5. It's just so stupid when that's done. Like Bijan, he's torturing me again because the second I traded him away, 17, 27 points. Why? It's fine. I won the last 2 games. It shouldn't matter. Okay. Well, I also had a good week. Chiefs, 31. Pacheco, 17.
Pacheco.
Oh, where do I start? Pacheco, Rashee Rice,
the 14,
Travis Kelce.
The 2 touchdowns the Raiders put up in the beginning, I'm like, where's this Chiefs defense? What's happening? The offense stalled out.
Okay, so the Chiefs-Lions game, at the 3 losses we've had this year, Chiefs-Lions, I was just shocked. Chiefs-Broncos, I was just embarrassed. Chiefs-Eagles, pissed off.
Going through all the emotions.
Chiefs-Raiders, that first quarter, when we went down 14-0, just depressed. Just really, really depressed. I was like, wow, I can't believe that not even the debacle that happens on Chiefs-Eagles can fix this team. Like, the fact that we started the game off, first of all, our defense looked terrible. We gave up an immediate touchdown. Aiden O'Connell, by the way, he has not really been mentioned on this podcast. I think he's the guy next year for the Raiders.
He's
actually
stick with him. Stick with him. He's a rookie. Stick with him.
This was the first game because obviously the Chiefs are playing. This is the first game I really closely watched Aiden O'Connell. He was tearing our defense up. He was throwing dimes.
I don't think he's a top quarterback in the league, but he's good. I mean,
he's actually not that bad.
I don't think
honestly,
he's terrible. Isn't the Raiders really quick, and I'll let you continue. They don't need to go out and try and get a quarterback. Stick with O'Connell. You have pieces. And
although Devontae Adams is totally not staying next year.
No.
So it's gonna be a little bit of a rebuild.
But I don't think you need to go out and waste money on a new quarterback. There's no need to. O'Connell, he's fine for what you guys are trying to do right now.
Yeah. But going back to it, 14-0 after that Jacobs run. And then the Chiefs offense was just throwing behind the line of scrimmage screens where nothing was working. It made no sense. But you could always count on the Chiefs to put up some points in Vegas. 31 is the least amount of points we've put up in Las Vegas so far in that new stadium. It was pretty much, other than the first quarter, it was pretty equivalent to the Chiefs-Chargers game back in Week 7. We won 31-17 as well. We did everything right. We finally got Pacheco more involved. We finally got Rashee Rice. Who would have thought, Chris, when you give Rashee Rice the ball more, we do well. He had 8 catches, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Maybe it took Kadarius Toney missing the game and McCole Hardman going on IR and Jerick McKinnon missing the game. Maybe it took the fact that we were forced to put out only those guys on the field to finally show that he should be the number 1 receiver. I've been saying this since Week 5, honestly. Finally, Chris, he took a drag route to the house. That never happens with the Chiefs unless Tyreek Hill's there. I mean, it's just such a relief. I have to see it happen twice in a row now. I'm not, because in between the Chargers game where we won 21-17, we won 19-8 against the Broncos and lost 24-9. So we didn't look good in between that. So if we could string together more weeks that look like this, I'll finally start to gain confidence. I mean, it was just the end of the world last week. And
there's a few guarantees in life. The Chiefs to put up points against the Chargers and the Raiders.
So that's why they have to put up points against the Packers next week, because I'm not going to be fully convinced, although I'm super happy that something finally proved it was funny, because MVS was still out there a lot, but it was just so funny to watch Mahomes just completely ignore him. Even if he was open. Justin Watson was wide open. Yeah, also had a touchdown. But he was wide open for a touchdown on one of the plays, and Mahomes just didn't look at him. He didn't trust him. It was so funny. He should have looked at him because he was wide open, but it was just funny to see Mahomes. He's like, nope, not this week. I'm really trying to think of anything else of this Chiefs game.
It was just another typical Raiders.
We put up points in the second half.
That's
all you can ask for at this point.
Nothing really big to take away. Just a good bounce back spot after a tough loss, and you beat up on a team who historically in the Mahomes era you guys own.
Here's another thing I'll say. Obviously, last week was focused on our drops. That's the big issue, the elephant in the room. But what I didn't really get to say as much last week is that we can't do well if our 2 best players in offense are not playing well as well. And Mahomes and Kelce looked terrible last week. The fact that Mahomes, he didn't have one throw. He's had at least one of these throws every game this season. He didn't have one throw yesterday where it looked like he was completely forcing the ball into a terrible situation. He had no turnovers. And Kelce looked great yesterday. He looked faster. He was getting wide open. There was an absolute dime that Mahomes threw to Kelce. I think it was in the second or third quarter. So just really happy with that. It looks like this team is starting to gain a little bit more confidence back. The play calling looks better. Pacheco's getting more touches. So I'm going to hold off on saying we're all the way back. I need about 1 or 2 more games in a row. If we look like this against the Bills in 2 weeks, then I'm all the way back.
The Bills are a disaster right now.
The Bills. Well, you know what? I don't really have much else to say about the Chiefs. So let's get to our final game. By the way, before we talk about the Bills, I think this has to be game of the year so far. I think this is number 1. Bucks-Texans was great. There's a few other ones we probably can't think of right now, but honestly,
overtime,
just the environment, the rainy environment in Philly, the Bills who are just struggling to get into the playoffs. Josh Allen looked amazing. Jalen Hurts looked great. It was a shootout, overtime. All you could ask for. It was a great game.
And Josh Allen yet to win an overtime game after he's the reason that the overtime rules have gotten changed. But there's a lot to be spoken about.
People can shut up about the coin toss now with the Chiefs game because he can't win one. I'm sorry.
We all know what happened in the game, but the biggest takeaways are, 1, is this it for the Bills? Are they not going to make the playoffs? I don't think they make the playoffs. I do not think they make the playoffs, honestly.
It's going to be tough. They have a bye this week, and then they play the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs win.
If the Chiefs win and the Bills go 6-7, I think the Bills also have to play the Cowboys, the Dolphins.
I think the
It's gonna be
Bills.
really,
I
really
think
tough.
Buffalo will beat the Cowboys just because the Cowboys.
It's in Buffalo.
I think
I don't know if
because
that
the
makes
Cowboys,
much
unless they
difference.
play a really bad team, they really don't do much. They've yet to beat a team over 500.
But the Bills are also just weird. I don't know.
That's gonna be
The
it.
Bills almost beat the Eagles, so there's definitely a shot they beat the Chiefs. They always play the Chiefs because they've beaten the Chiefs the last 2 or 3 times we played in the regular season. So.
I don't know. My faith in Buffalo this season has gone down the drain. Also, another hot take. I think that there might be a coaching change.
I was going to say Sean McDermott.
I think it's time.
I want to say I was right, but I kind of said he should have been fired last year.
You
No one wanted to listen to me.
You have Super Bowl aspirations, and you just can't get there. You have this talented of a roster.
He's very overrated.
And listen, it's getting a little too late now. Like Sam alluded to weeks ago, the window for time to play your players is time to pay your players is coming up, and I think it's time for Sean to be gone at the end of the year. I think the what do they call it when that was it?
What?
No. Anyway, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that Monday when the season ends, I think we're going to see McDermott being fired. Staley's going to be gone. We're going to see a lot of coaches getting...
Well, yeah, obviously the Bills don't make the playoffs. McDermott's gone. Staley, I don't know.
I think even if
we're not really going to talk about the Ravens-Chargers game. I already ranted about them last week. I don't know how he's still not fired.
Even if Buffalo sneaks into the playoffs and they don't win a playoff game, he's gone. I don't see a path
Super Bowl or bust.
for him being back. It's a disaster here.
I would feel worse for Bills fans if they weren't so whiny and annoying after that 13-second game. Oh, you got to change the rules. The Chiefs got handed the game. I loved Bills fans, but you know what, Bills fans? I'm sorry, you guys are a little bit overrated. I have to say.
I disagree.
I said this last week too. You guys are just as whiny, if not more, than Bengals fans. You guys are 2 of the most whiny franchises.
Too much time on Reddit for you, Sam.
No, it's in real life too. It's everything. I just feel like they're not. It's fine. I guess if you never won a Super Bowl, it makes sense. But like, no, I'm not trying to talk shit or anything. I'm serious. But like, I don't know. The Bills, they just. I guess it makes sense just because how the hell have you not made a Super Bowl with this team yet? But look, I don't feel as bad. I really don't. I really don't feel as bad for you guys. You guys just have a terrible coaching. You guys really haven't made that many adjustments on your defense. Josh Allen is extremely up and down. Your chance was in 2020 or in 2021. The other 3 years, you kind of blew it.
It's tough, but if this is miles about the Eagles, a huge game, playing from behind a little bit.
They're winning the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. If it's not the Chiefs, it's the Eagles. It has to be.
Listen,
The fact that they're finding a way to win these close games. The only team they lost to was the Jets.
Eagles, Jags.
All the good teams. Yeah, Al, there you go.
Eagles, Jags. That prediction looks like it can happen. Still way alive.
We didn't talk about the Jags a lot with the Texans game. We talked more about the Texans. I'm still not buying the Jaguars. They can end 12-5. I don't care. I think they're at most divisional round. I really do. I don't have any hope of the Jaguars. There's something with that team that's just a little bit off. I don't know what it is. I don't feel like Trevor Lawrence has that.
If you want to hop onto
he doesn't have the extra gear.
You want to hop onto the Jags bandwagon this year with me?
I'm not doing it.
I'll leave the seat open for you.
I'm not doing it. I am Chiefs, Ravens, or Dolphins. Those are the 3. I only say Dolphins because they're my second favorite team. They have no chance to make the Super Bowl. But that would be cool if not the Chiefs.
We'll see what happens. There's a lot of football left. As we know, anything could happen. Upsets, last end of the season disasters. We've seen it all, and why not see it again? So, yeah, it's been crazy so far. This entire thing. This game,
really.
I didn't expect this many points to be put up. What was it? 34-31. Hurts
37-34. Yeah.
Hurts ran for a 20-yard touchdown at the end. It looked like the defense just stopped. They didn't even want to hit him. And with the rain,
the fact that they played prevent defense at the end is that's exactly what they did against the Chiefs in 13 seconds. Look how that turned out. That's why Sean McDermott should be fired. Just terrible play call.
Learn from your mistakes.
And then the miscommunication between Gabriel Davis and Josh Allen, like just classic Bills right there. I'm really teetering whether to feel bad or at this point we're rivals, so I can't really feel bad.
It's just the same story over and over with them every year. I mean, Diggs is going to go and he's going to complain, and then he's going to say everything's fine. He'll be back next year. It's just so much drama. I feel something if he doesn't get the ball.
You can see it in Josh. I do feel bad for Josh Allen. You can see it in his eyes that he's just it's kind of like Justin Herbert. Like, all the energy has just been taken out of him from this franchise.
I want to know what the locker room's like. You go in here thinking that you're a top team in the league, and now you're fighting for a wild card position.
Look, I mean, the Chiefs had their struggles a couple years ago. We started 3-4. I mean, the Bills are 6-6. They almost beat the Eagles, so there's still a chance. I know I just talked a lot of shit about Bills and their fans, and I'm like, oh, they're overrated or whatever. I still have respect for you guys, and also I do not want to see you in the playoffs because you guys always play this close. So I hope they miss the playoffs. I'd rather see the Steelers or the Browns or the Colts than the Bills for sure, even if the Bills are struggling more right now. I mean, they almost just beat the Eagles in Philly, so that's about it, though. I mean, what are we going to talk about? The Rams game? Like, no.
Tyler Higbee week.
Yeah, Tyler Higbee week.
Kyron Williams week. Hey, really quick, and then we can move on. But why do I feel that whenever Higbee goes off, it's always in the spot that nobody ever thinks? It's always just some random game. Everyone's like, Rams Cardinals, who cares about this? Next thing you know, the Rams put
it's always a divisional match.
It's always like 40-something, like 30-plus points. Higbee, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards. What?
Higbee's been on that team for a long time. K-Dot and Tyler Higbee. These are the main stories of this podcast.
Higbee was a tight end 5 last year.
What?
Yeah, for fantasy, I think he was a tight end 5.
Good for Higbee. Getting that check.
Higbeast.
Okay. I don't like that at all. Come up with a better name next week and get back to me.
I'll go into the lab. It'll start working.
I mean, there really isn't much else to talk about, to be honest. I mean, we never even mentioned the Broncos, the fact that they're on a 5-game winning streak, but I talked about the Broncos last week. I don't care. They're not doing shit in the playoffs, even if they make it.
Hey, it's a
good for you, Broncos fans.
Better season than last year. New coach, Russell Wilson looks a little
comeback
better.
Player of the year, Russell Wilson, maybe.
We'll see.
That's so funny. Like, what is Russell Wilson thinking if he wins comeback player of the year? Because that means he's winning comeback player of the year. He's coming back from sucking. That's basically what they're saying. He's like, thanks. That's what it is.
It was hard to be worse than you were last year. So
that's so funny when a player is terrible and they're good and they win comeback player of the year. Like Gino. Did Gino win it last year?
Yeah, Gino won last year.
Coming back from having a horrible first 10 years of your career. That's what they're saying. I just think it's funny.
Hey, who knows? But it's one of those things. Some teams are at the bottom are going to make their way to the top. It happens every year. And the Broncos weren't on my list for a team who will be fighting for a playoff spot. As boring as they are, it can very well still happen. But when you get a coach who's actually not complete garbage like Nathaniel Hackett, you could actually win some games. Who would have thought that was possible? Well, I'm sure we obviously didn't think that.
Well, I actually didn't because I had them like 7-10. Which I'm running out of time. Hopefully they win one more.
7-10. It was better than last year. I didn't think they were going to be a playoff team, but I didn't think that they were going to be worse or the same as last year because that was pitiful.
Yeah, that's it though. We got our Week 13 preview, so let's get to the game recap or the game predictions. Chris, we have Seahawks Cowboys. Now, this is a game where the Cowboys could look a little bit worse, and this is also a game where Cowboys fans are going to use this if they win. Like, oh, we finally beat a good team. Oh, the Seahawks are great. No, they're not. We had a whole segment last week how the Seahawks are going to end like 8-9 and miss the playoffs, and they're going to be 6-6 after you beat them this week. So, Cowboys fans, don't get on your high horse. You guys have a fun team. You guys put away bad teams, whatever. You're flashy, but even if you win this game 50-0,
no one's convinced.
It's not changing that much because I don't really feel like the Seahawks are that good. So I have the Cowboys winning this game 25-13.
Yeah, I have the Cowboys winning a close one, 24-20.
Okay, we move on to the 1 o'clock games. By the way, there's a lot of bye weeks this week.
Yeah.
I think it's like 6 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a little bit of a shorter red zone. That's fine. Still got some Week 13 football. Let's start with Colts-Titans in Tennessee.
Colts winning this game.
Yeah, I do feel like I wouldn't be shocked if the Titans won, but I do have to. The Colts might be 7-5. They're the 7th seed right now.
I'm not surprised.
The Chiefs play the Colts right now if the season ended.
Gardner Minshew.
I don't know what to think about.
Gardner Minshew is not a bad quarterback. When Richardson went down, I'm like, all right, it's fine.
I like the shimmy he does.
Everything about him. This Colts team, whether it was Gardner playing this year, Anthony Richardson, they were fine. I had no worries about this team. Good for the Colts. A team that nobody had any high expectations for coming in here battling for the playoffs. So good for them. And Gardner, he can start for a handful of NFL teams right now and be better than whatever atrocity at quarterback they have.
I actually don't want to see the Colts. The Colts are one of those teams that always screw something up for the Chiefs.
Good.
They always have a number. It's fine, though. I'm happy for Gardner. I'll pick the Colts to win 24-17.
Yeah, I'm going to go Colts going to win. I'm going to say 27-20.
Okay, Jets, Falcons at MetLife. I had the chance to redeem this ticket from a job fair I went to this summer. Nope, not taking that. Not sitting out in the cold. Not watching Desmond Ridder. I'm not watching Tim Boyle. Sorry. Someone else could have the ticket. That game sucks. 19-9 Falcons.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are going to win this game. I'm going to say 13-9.
Okay.
It's just an atrocity.
Like the same thing.
Yeah, so the Falcons, Desmond Ridder will be the starter for the rest of the way, which I think is a disaster. He's terrible. 2 interceptions yesterday. They somehow managed to squeak out a win, but this team's terrible. Either way, they're better than the Jets and whatever atrocity at quarterback they will run out, whether it's Tim Boyle again, maybe Zach Wilson. Who knows? Who cares? The Falcons are going to win.
Okay, here comes the battle of the two teams that will never play each other outside. Lions, Saints. And I'm going to have the Lions bouncing back 30-22.
As the Lions bouncing back, Derek Carr, I don't know what's up with him. He kind of just looks pretty...
What's up with that? What's up with that? Sorry, I watch SNL. It's okay. It's a classic.
Lions are going to win 29-17. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Texans, Broncos. This matchup would have been terrible at the beginning of the season, but it's actually one of the better matchups of the week, shockingly. I'm going to have the Texans win it, though, of course, because they have to be the Broncos. 23-17.
Texans going to win 25-10.
There's your 25. Chargers, Patriots, yikes.
I don't even want to
totally
watch
see the Patriots winning it, but at the same time, they just lost 10-7 to Tommy DeVito. Oh, he's not behind us anymore, but there he is, Tommy DeVito. So I got to just somehow pick the Chargers here, even though they've been terrible as well. 20-16.
I'm going to go Chargers will win. I'm going to say it's going to be a basic game, 21-14.
Okay, a little Super Bowl rematch. Steelers-Cardinals. Shockingly, I have Kyler Murray going into Pittsburgh, lighten it up a little bit, and winning because the Steelers, they can't get too far away from 9-8. We can't have them being 8-4. That's too good. So we have to just have them dropping it to a 2-9 team in the Cardinals, 23-20.
I think Steelers win here. I think they keep the momentum going. Now, if Matt Canada was still here, different story. I would also have the Cardinals, but I just can't. I think this team is feeling a little too good right now, rightfully so. I think they're going to have another 400-yard game, and they are going to beat the Cardinals. I'm going to say 26-18.
Wow, 26 points. That's big.
Am I getting too greedy?
Maybe a little bit. I think 26. We'll see.
I'm on my high horse right now after Canada not being here.
Okay.
For 400 yards, I'm happy.
I know.
Let me be happy for once.
I'm not saying. I didn't tell you not to be happy.
Let me be happy.
How dare you? What are we at? Washington Dolphins. A little rematch of 4 years ago. Remember when the Dolphins were tanking for Tua and they had the 2-point conversion and they threw that screen pass, which was obviously on purpose so they could lose. There was that rematch. Also, that basically cost the Commanders Joe Burrow as well. That one play.
How weird.
It all stems back to that.
The NFL would have been such a different landscape.
Yeah, if they didn't throw that screen, they would have won the game. That's crazy. But I got the Dolphins winning this, 27-17.
Yeah, Dolphins versus a team who can't. A Dolphins are a team who
if
only beats teams underneath 500.
Tyreek Hill doesn't put up 50 fantasy points this week against that Commanders defense,
oh my goodness.
I would be very sad.
Yeah, this is just going to be an offensive onslaught from the Dolphins. I honestly think it's going to be. They just fired the defensive coordinator and linebacker coach too, but this is going to be ugly. I think it'll be 52-25.
Okay. I actually only have the Dolphins putting up 27. I think they're going to get up to a 24-3 lead at halftime.
Haddle's going to have another 300-yard game because why not? He always does. And the Dolphins against
he'll get his
the
touchdown to Curtis Samuel. Lock that in. Logan Thomas. Just anyone but McLaurin.
Antonio Gibson, 30-yard screen
exactly.
pass to the house.
Or Sam Howell will run it in. He always runs it in. Okay, Bucks Panthers. No one cares. Bucks win 20-13.
Panthers just fired their head coach. I would say the Panthers, but the Panthers are abysmal. I just can't go with that this week. I have to go with the Bucks bouncing back here. Gross game, 17-14.
Let's quickly mention Rams-Browns before the big game of the week. This game is going to be gross, low scoring. I have the Rams pulling it out because wouldn't that be fun if they were 6-6 and pushing for a wild card? Because why not? So I have the Rams winning 17-13.
I think the Browns win here. I'm going to say... what do I go? I think the Browns are going to win up 21-19.
Perfect. And then, okay, Eagles-Niners. This is going to say a lot about these two teams and playoff implications. I'm going to be glued to the television.
I don't know.
Another 4 o'clock game.
I don't know what to do here.
In Philly. I got to go with the Eagles just because they've proved more than the Niners that in a close game against a good team, they could end the game and pull it out. Now, I won't be shocked if the Niners win. I'm rooting for the Niners, but I got to just go with the team that's 10-1 right now and has proved time after time they can win a close game. They know their identity a little bit better. But this is going to be crazy. This game's going to be wild. I hope it's high scoring. I hope it's close. But I got the Eagles winning 25-23 in a very tense game.
It's hard to It's hard to bet against the best team in football being the Eagles. Best record, pulling out close games. They have the one play that nobody can seem to stop, and it always works. I also have to go with the Eagles here. I think it's going to be a fun game. Playoff atmosphere, obviously. Huge implications for both teams. If we're really going to see a lot, and Eagles were tested last week, they're going to get tested this week. I think Eagles win 27-24.
All right. Chiefs-Packers. First time Mahomes is heading to Lambeau Field. Sunday Night Football. I would say a couple weeks ago this should be flexed out. But look, Packers are now going for the playoffs. The Chiefs just won. They're 8-3, so I understand. I'll be glued to my television like always. I think that the Chiefs will look slightly worse than they did against the Raiders on offense, but not as abysmal as they have the last few weeks before that. I think our defense plays pretty good against Jordan Love. I got a pretty boring game nonetheless. Chiefs win it 24-10.
Yeah, I have a close game, but low scoring game. I'm going to say 23-22. Chiefs just pull it out.
Oh, that would really be tough if we won by 1. I hope not. Okay. And then Jaguars-Bengals. Obviously, we all know why this was going to be on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
It's going to be a great matchup, but this one is just going to be a little depressing for the Bengals, like the Steelers game was. You know, Jake Browning just can't get it done against the Jags, so I got the Jags winning it 27-13.
Yeah, I have Jaguars winning 31-23.
Oh, 23 points. Okay.
I feel like I had to throw out that number again.
Okay, fine.
Feeling
Yeah, that's it for the Week 13 preview. We have a few more minutes to do our top 3 like we always do. We're going to move away from food because we just had a Thanksgiving episode. We did donuts. We've done a lot of that. Let's move on to something football related. I had this idea because, you know, after Thanksgiving, a lot of people say this is where we start thinking about the playoffs. More importantly, the Super Bowl. Chris, let's rank our top 3 Super Bowls we've ever watched. And this is obviously Super Bowls that we remember.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, we're going to lay it down. It's going to be Colts, Bears, and after. So 2007 and after. So
Want me to start off with
sure, number 3.
Number 3, I have the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Patriots beating the Falcons, coming back down 28-3. That's my number 3, Super Bowl 51, 2017.
Shockingly, I don't have that on my list. It's number 4. I think my number 3 is an extremely underrated Super Bowl that doesn't get enough credit because it came right after Patriots-Falcons. I think as a full game, this one was a lot better from start to finish. I'm going Pats-Eagles, 2018. I think the shootout, the fact that Tom Brady had 500 yards in this game and still lost. There was a lot of big moments in this game. It was Philly's first ever Super Bowl win. 41-33, that strip sack at the end. Nick Foles, the Philly special. There was so much from the Super Bowl that doesn't get talked about enough. I know, of course, Eagles fans talk about it enough, but yeah, that's number 3, easy. Also, another shocker, I don't have any Chiefs Super Bowls in this one. Obviously, the 2 Chiefs Super Bowls that we won are my favorites, but I'm going as an overall game itself, as just an NFL watcher. Although Chiefs-Eagles might be my top 5. Number 2, Chris, going to go with one that you like a lot. Cardinals-Steelers, one of the first ones we've ever watched.
Crazy game.
27-23, I believe, was the score. I mean, you can go for James Harrison, 99-yard pick 6.
Santonio Holmes.
You can go Santonio Holmes, game-winning catch. Larry Fitzgerald almost taking the Cardinals into their first Super Bowl win ever. Super intense. Easily one of the best games, Super Bowl history and NFL history.
Wild,
fantastic game.
Wild game. My number 2, 2008 Giants Patriots.
It's another good one.
Eli Manning outdueled Brady in both of the Super Bowls.
You got to go with the first one though, because that's the upset. The 2008, yeah, that's a great game.
The helmet catch. What is there not to love about that game?
You know, we've been lucky, I would say, in our lifetime with how many great Super Bowls have been. I think a lot of people forget pre-2000.
We've had some really bad ones too.
But
the good ones out.
From Super Bowl 1
bad.
to about when we were born, so like 2000-ish, there was 5, 6 good Super Bowls
Yeah.
at all. And how many good Super Bowls we've seen? 10, 12? Just in that short 20-year span? Like, we've been very lucky.
We got
So, like,
upset.
the fact that Pats Giants is being left out for me, both of those, all the Chiefs ones, Pats
No,
Falcons, that's being left out for me.
I don't know if you're gonna have this as your number one, but maybe Broncos Seahawks.
Yeah, or Chiefs Bucks. That was a great Super Bowl.
Oh man.
Okay, so that's your number 2. My number 1, I know what your number 1 is. It's got to be. Okay, I'll let you say it. But number 1 for me is definitely Pats Seahawks. I think that was the greatest game in NFL history. Do you even have it in your top 3, do you?
No.
Wow. That is easily the best Super Bowl. I mean, just it was the perfect mixture of offense and defense for me. I think the fact that the Seahawks were looking to extend their dynasty and it all just completely crumbled and ended in one play. I've never been so. The only other time in NFL history I've ever been that shocked at a play was the Minneapolis Miracle with the Vikings. That was the only other time I felt the same exact way I did when Malcolm Butler picked.
I will never forget
And that was
where
that was the Patriots' first Super Bowl win in 10 years. A lot of people look at the Patriots team. They had 2 separate dynasties. They had the dynasty that we don't really remember in the early 2000s, and then their second dynasty started with that play. Everything changed in that moment. The Seahawks went downhill from there, and the Patriots won 3 Super Bowls.
Brady, 2 different Super Bowl eras for him.
Yeah, that was
Hall of Fame eras.
Not only just a back and forth game, it was phenomenal. I mean, people forget the curse catch at the end to set them up. And then Marshawn Lynch got it down to the 1-yard line. It was crazy. That game was the best game I've ever seen, other than the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, obviously.
The fact he didn't run it in there with Marshawn Lynch.
That's the biggest what if of all time in NFL.
We know it would happen.
It has to be.
We know it would happen.
It has to be. And there's so many videos on YouTube of like Seahawks fans huddling around their television. They're like, Lynch, because they think they're gonna run it, and then when they drop past the pass, everyone's just like this.
Pete Carroll
you just see there's so many videos of everyone just freaking out.
Pete Carroll
so excited.
tried to play chess when he should have just played checkers right there.
Just Richard Sherman's face when they panned to him and just everything. It was just so perfect.
So lucky
even though
we
I
get
hate
to
the
witness all
Patriots,
this.
it was just such a. You got to give it up to the Patriots, even though we hate them. Pretty much every single Super Bowl they've been in has been great. Besides Pats Rams.
For the most part.
Yeah. All right, what's your number 1? I have a feeling this is going to be the one that was on my list.
Yeah. Sam's number 2, my number 1, Steelers Cardinals. We already went over it. James Harrison, 99-yard touchdown. Antonio Holmes clutch catch in the back of the end zone. This is one that I vividly remember where I was start to finish. I was on my feet watching Antonio. I was up, freaking out.
You were young too. That was the first one you've seen. Well, do you remember Steelers Seahawks? Or not?
A little bit.
Okay, because that was technically the first one you saw the Steelers win.
This one I remember start to finish, and I was scared. I was sweating watching. That's Antonio Holmes play when he brought it down. I didn't know what to expect.
I remember I was rooting for the Cardinals.
I was like,
I was a big Cardinals guy.
Of course you were, because you knew what would happen now. You knew this was gonna happen.
What do you mean?
You knew
we knew that. Yeah. I'm a genius.
You saw into the future. That's my
And
number
I just
1.
picked the Cardinals to beat the Steelers in this game.
All right.
How crazy we're talking about Super Bowls.
We can't have nice things in this world, I guess, when we are together.
Well, at least you won the Super Bowl, Chris. What about Cardinals fans? You ever think about Cardinals fans, if they even exist? You ever think about that? Cardinals are the worst franchise to be a fan of, in my opinion.
I know.
It's worse than the Lions.
My uncle's
You're the oldest team in the NFL.
I have
You've
an
never
uncle
won a
who's a
Super
Cardinal
Bowl.
fan.
That's crazy.
But
Panthers.
No, I have another uncle.
You have another uncle that's a Cardinals fan.
Well, they live in Arizona, so it makes sense.
What happens when the Cardinals and Panthers play each other?
It's war.
Is there like
It's war.
are the fans like talking shit to each other? Or they're just like, yeah, we know our teams suck. Like, let's just have a nice time.
They send messenger pigeons to one another.
Yeah, okay, all right. That's definitely what happens. All right, shout out to 49ers Ravens. Very underrated Super Bowl that I feel like should just go mentioned. And Chiefs Niners. I think those are the 2 most underrated Super Bowls we can't talk about.
Really? Not the Broncos Seahawks?
No, that was terrible. And that was about it, though, Chris.
Yeah, we've had a lot, and I think that we are due for another good Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had some good ones the last couple of years, so we'll see. But Jim Nantz and Tony Romo doing the Super Bowl. Every time they do it, it's a bad Super Bowl. So I hope not. But okay,
we're kind of due for kind of a Debbie Downer, but I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
All right, Chris. Well, that's about it. We had a lot to talk about. It was a great episode. Thank you guys for listening. Follow us at In the Huddle Pod on Instagram.
Really quick. I know Al wants me to mention it. I was trying to figure out a point to mention this.
Yeah, we know. Here we
I
go.
know.
Go ahead.
Al, CM Punk returned to Survivor Series.
Woo!
What a moment. I was jumping like a little kid on Christmas morning, seeing him return. 13 minutes left. I knew something had to happen. He returned. I felt like a little kid. My inner childhood, favorite wrestler of all time. I was screaming, woke up the entire house. Everyone. It was great, and get to see him on Monday Night Raw tonight. Again, it's gonna be good. Him and Seth Rollins fighting for the belt at Royal Rumble.
I love Seth Rollins. Yes.
Best in the world.
That was crazy. It was crazy.
It was in Chicago,
It's a monumental
in his
moment.
hometown.
That was awesome.
I don't know. And that one fan who was right there holding on there. Oh, that should have been me.
That was great.
Should have been me. I have to get a CM Punk shirt. I have to.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the In the Huddle podcast. Follow us on all social media pages.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We'll be back next week. You can say goodbye.
Goodbye.